Welcome to the ultimate guide for the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate Exam, code SAA-C03. Whether you are just starting your cloud journey or you are a seasoned professional, this exam is a true test of your ability to design robust, scalable, and cost-effective systems on AWS. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to break down 15 critical tips, architectural patterns, and exam-taking strategies that will give you the edge you need to pass on your first attempt. We'll cover everything from storage and compute to networking and security. So, grab your notebook and let's dive in. Tip number 1. Master the S3 storage classes. This is high-yield territory. The exam loves to test your knowledge of when to use S3 standard, standard IA, one zone IA, and Glacier. Remember, if the data must be resilient to an entire data center failure, do not use one zone IA. If the question mentions millisecond access, but infrequently accessed data, standard IA is your winner. For long-term archival where retrieval time can range from minutes to hours, Glacier Flexible Retrieval or Glacier Deep Archive are your go-to choices. Always look for the keyword frequent or infrequent and immediate versus delayed access. This alone can save you 5 to 10 marks. Tip 2. Understand EC2 instance types and billing models. You must know the difference between on-demand, reserved instances, savings plans, and spot instances. Spot instances are for stateless, flexible, and fault-tolerant workloads, think batch processing or CI/CD. If the workload is steady and predictable for 1 to 3 years, reserved instances or savings plans will save you up to 72%. Also, keep an eye on instance families. R-series is for RAM or memory-intensive, C-series is for compute-intensive, and T-series is for burstable workloads. Choosing the right instance type is a cornerstone of the cost optimization pillar. Tip 3. Storage selection. Know when to use EBS, EFS, or instance store. EBS is block storage for a single EC2 instance. If you need a shared file system that multiple EC2 instances can access simultaneously across different availability zones, EFS is the answer. But wait, what about instance store? Instance store is ephemeral. If the instance stops, the data is gone. Use it only for temporary data like buffers or caches where high-performance I/O is needed and data loss is acceptable. On the exam, if shared file system is mentioned, think EFS immediately. Tip 4. The database decision. For traditional relational data needing SQL, complex joins, or transactions, choose RDS or Aurora. Aurora is AWS's cloud-native database. It's 5 times faster than standard MySQL and offers better replication. But if the requirement is for a NoSQL database with millisecond latency and massive scale like a gaming leaderboard or session state, DynamoDB is the king. DynamoDB is serverless and scales automatically. Remember, RDS is for relational and DynamoDB is for key-value or NoSQL requirements. Tip 5. VPC Foundations. Networking is where many students struggle. Understand the difference between public and private subnets. A public subnet has a route to an internet gateway. A private subnet does not. To get internet access for instances in a private subnet, you need a NAT gateway in a public subnet. Remember, NAT gateways are highly available across AZS, while NAT instances are legacy and not recommended. Also, know your security groups versus network ACLs. Security groups are stateful and operate at the instance level. Network ACLs are stateless and operate at the subnet level. Tip 6. IAM and the principle of least privilege. This is Job 0 on AWS. Always give users the minimum permissions they need. Use IAM roles instead of long-term access keys whenever possible, especially for service-to-service communication. Ensure MFA is enabled on the root account. Know the difference between identity-based policies and resource-based policies, like S3 bucket policies. If the exam asks how to manage permissions for a large number of users, use IAM groups. Tip 7. Decouple your architectures. Tightly coupled systems fail together. Use SQS to buffer requests and allow different parts of your app to scale independently. SQS is a pull service, while SNS is a push or pub/sub service. If you need to trigger multiple actions from one event like sending an email and starting a Lambda function, use SNS to fan out the message. Decoupling makes your system resilient to spikes in traffic. Tip 8. Think serverless. AWS Lambda is the heart of serverless architecture. You only pay for the time your code runs. Use it with API Gateway for web backends or with S3 triggers for image processing. Remember the limits. Lambda functions have a maximum execution time of 15 minutes. If a task takes longer, consider using EC2 or Fargate. Serverless is the ultimate way to achieve cost efficiency and operational excellence. Tip 9. High availability and auto-scaling. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Always deploy across at least 2 availability zones. Use an application load balancer to distribute traffic. Auto-scaling groups ensure you have the right number of instances at all times. Know the difference between predictive scaling and dynamic scaling. If the exam mentions sudden spikes, ensure your scaling policy is reactive enough. Tip 10. Hybrid cloud and data migration. Know your storage gateways. File gateway is for S3 access via NFS or SMB. Volume gateway provides block storage for on-premise servers. Tape gateway replaces physical tape backups. If you need to move petabytes of data where internet bandwidth is the bottleneck, use Snowball Edge. For exabyte scale, it's Snowmobile. Always choose the most cost-effective and fastest migration path based on the data volume. Tip 11. Observability. CloudWatch is for performance monitoring. Think CPU usage, disk I/O, and custom application metrics. CloudTrail is for auditing. It records who did what and when in your AWS account. If you need to investigate a security breach or an unauthorized change, CloudTrail is your primary tool. Config is another important one. It tracks resource configurations and compliance over time. Remember, CloudWatch is for performance and CloudTrail is for actions or logs. Tip 12. Edge networking. Route 53 is not just DNS. Understand its routing policies, weighted for A to B testing, latency-based for best performance, and failover for disaster recovery. Combine this with CloudFront, AWS's content delivery network. CloudFront catches content at edge locations closer to your users, reducing latency and offloading traffic from your origin servers like S3 or EC2. If global users and low latency are mentioned together, CloudFront is almost always part of the answer. Tip 13. Disaster recovery strategies. You must know the 4 types: backup and restore, pilot light, warm standby, and multi-site active-active. Backup and restore is cheapest but has high RTO. Pilot light keeps only critical core services running in a second region. Warm standby keeps a scaled-down version of the whole environment. Multi-site is the most expensive but offers near zero downtime. Always match the strategy to the business's recovery time objective and recovery point objective. Finally, tip 15, the exam strategy. Read the full question carefully. Often, the last sentence contains the most important requirement like most cost-effective or least operational overhead. Eliminate clearly wrong answers first. Don't get stuck on one question, flag it and move on. You have 140 minutes for 65 questions. Manage your time wisely. Master the well-architected framework, keep practicing, and you will succeed. Good luck on your exam, and we'll see you in the clouds. Follow @CloudDecoded for more AWS masterclasses.